The first thing that struck me while watching the virtual launch of this jobs portal is how is it any different from NC Works, the state's unemployment program?
Jobs are the heart of any community. What we want to get out is the soul of the community, and that's that way of life.
The new jobs portal includes a promotional video highlighting that quality of life in the Piedmont Triad.
North Carolina's Triad area, where you can pursue your passions for work and play.
Job hunters can also find information about commute times and cost of living. For example, housing in the Triad costs 55% less than housing in Atlanta. Job openings include the fields of aerospace and aviation, healthcare and biotechnology, manufacturing and engineering. Community developer Matthew Dolge says the portal is designed to connect job hunters and employers, attract new talent to the Piedmont Triad, and keep young talent from moving away.
We're producing a lot of degrees. We're losing a lot of these folks. And so, we've talked to our college, placement folks, and they've said this is a type of tool they could really use to interact with those people who are finishing their degree here and give them options within the region.
Lizzie Ward Rodinger is one of the homegrown talents who almost got away.
Didn't really have intentions of coming back to Winston.
A Winston-Salem native and graduate of Wake Forest, she was working in Atlanta for Coca-Cola before coming home to run Sunshine Beverages.
I came back here also because the career opportunities for me were just as good in Winston-Salem as they were in some of the other cities that I would have been looking at and considering. And I think on top of that, there were the factors that the other cities didn't have.
The Triad has long lagged behind Charlotte and the Triangle when it comes to growth. The organizers of this jobs portal say this could be a real economic boost for the Piedmont Triad. In Greensboro, I'm Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
Bill, thank you. We know of 103 more people who are sick with coronavirus today in just Forsyth County. As we continue to learn of new cases, Novant Health is celebrating an enormous milestone. It treated and released more than 1,000 coronavirus patients. And as our Leanne Denyer shows us today, they celebrated Robin Eaton's fight.
To celebrate 1,000 patients treated and discharged for COVID-19 at Novant Health, doctors, nurses, the entire team came out to send her home.
The mask over her face couldn't hide the relief, the gratitude.
As the days went on, I was just counting the days down that God would heal me and I would just be coming home.
Robin Eaton is going home. She spent 6 days at Forsyth Medical Center with COVID-19.
COVID-19 is still with us. However, we're learning to coexist with the COVID-19 outbreak.
Alongside Novant Health team members and her own family Thursday afternoon, they celebrated. Eaton thanked God.
My faith with God, my Lord and Savior. He gave me a peacefulness. He gave me calmness. He said, Robin, you're my child. I got you. You're going home.
Eaton became the 1,000th patient to be treated and then discharged from the Novant system with COVID-19. She prays the community will continue taking the virus seriously.
This is not over. We have a long ways to go. This COVID does not discriminate.
Novant Health says they're committed to continuing their fight to send more COVID-19 patients home. Patients like Robin.
We're 100% in. We're all in for Winston-Salem. We're all in for Forsyth County and the Triad. We're here to meet the needs of our community, period.
Also in the crowd today, Robin's children, her grandchildren, several siblings. It really was a family affair. Robin, we are so glad you are feeling better. In Winston-Salem, Leanne Denyer, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Leanne. Governor Cooper just issued a new executive order that addresses the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on communities of color. Governor Cooper says in North Carolina, African Americans account for 22% of the population, but they make up 30% of the confirmed COVID-19 cases in our state. He says Latinx people account for 10% of the population, but 39% of cases. Governor Cooper says these statistics are alarming and unacceptable.
I want to be clear that there's nothing inherent to black or brown people that makes them more susceptible to severe COVID-19 illness. The data should not be used to further racism or fear. The disparities because people of color have historically had less access to health care, housing, economic opportunity, and more. This virus is exploiting those inequalities, and it's up to us to do something about it.
This new executive order creates a new task force called the Andrea Harris Social, Economic, Environmental, and Health Equity Task Force. It's going to address long-term health disparities.
George Floyd's death 10 days ago provided the spark for protests all over the world, but the actual marches are about a lot more than just one incident. There's another event happening this evening in Winston-Salem aimed at raising awareness of racial and social injustice. Our Brandon Bates joins us live in Winston-Salem. And Brandon, this is set to begin in about 30 minutes or so. What are you seeing right now?
Well, Kenny, not seeing anybody yet. Seeing a pretty large police presence here on West End Street. You can see today's day 6 of planned protests in Winston-Salem. They've all been peaceful up until this point. Most of them have been downtown, but like I said, we're on West End today. It's going to take place in this neighborhood behind me. This is right outside the William G. White Jr. Family YMCA. The protest scheduled from 5:30 to 7:30, starting right here. And protest organizers said they picked this historic West End neighborhood because this is where some of the local judges and city officials live. The group hoping their message is heard that the country's racial divide needs to be mended. Today's Black Lives Matter protest being put on by the group Winston for Peace. We've heard these protests are far from over too, as the weekend just around the corner, anticipating some pretty large crowds to protest in the coming days. A big priority of protest organizers today, they're hoping to keep the peaceful streak up here in Winston-Salem. Of course, we will be here in this historic West End neighborhood all day, as well as on Facebook Live and WXII with all the updates. For now, reporting live in Winston-Salem, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Brandon. Today, civil rights leaders, politicians, family members, and friends are remembering George Floyd. His death while in police custody ignited outcries all around the world against racial injustice. Our Bree Jackson's in Washington, where lawmakers are looking for some ways to move the country forward.
Brianna, lawmakers are looking to discuss racial profiling, use of excessive force, and making officers' misconduct records more transparent as ways to address racial discrimination and policing. An emotional service honoring the life of George Floyd.
We want justice for George. He's going to get it. He's going to get it. That pandemic of racism and discrimination that killed George Floyd.
Floyd's death sparked global protest and calls for change. Continuing for a 10th day Thursday. On Capitol Hill, Democratic senators observed a moment of silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the amount of time an officer kneeled on Floyd's neck.
May we honor those dead by protecting all who are alive.
Democrats now pushing for legislation to address racial injustice, focusing on police reform,
including a number of provisions ending racial profiling, ending excessive use of force.
Republican leaders say they hope to find common ground on issues like increased transparency regarding misconduct complaints to help weed out bad cops.
How difficult is it to remove a bad officer?
Lawmakers from both parties say it's time to bring those discussions to Capitol Hill and create bipartisan solutions.
It allows us to speak specifically to the injustices that we see.
And next week, the House Judiciary Committee plans to hold a hearing looking at racial profiling and police brutality, and the Senate plans to hold a similar hearing later this month. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Bree. A judge has ruled that there is enough evidence to try 3 men with murder in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. 2 of the 3 were in court today. Investigators testified saying that Ahmaud Arbery was hit with the truck before he died, and his alleged killer used a racial slur. Travis McMichael is accused of firing the shotgun in the February 23rd shooting, and his father, Gregory McMichael, is sitting next to him in this video. A third man charged in the case, William Bryan, waived his right to appear in court today. Bryan is the one who videoed Arbery's final moments. The Justice Department has launched a hate crime investigation in this case.
A man is behind bars in Davie County after a mother of 5 ends up dead. Officers arrested Miguel Leon this morning in Winston-Salem. He's accused of hitting and killing his girlfriend, Vianney Arias, with his vehicle. Police say one of her children reported her missing at about 2 o'clock in the morning. This happened yesterday. Leon is charged with hit and run. He is behind bars on a $150,000 bond.
Up next, keeping your personal information safe during the pandemic. We're going to tell you what's happening to make sure your health confusion isn't used against you.
New numbers just out show the extent of the COVID-19 spread in nursing homes. Our investigation, COVID clusters, seniors at risk, continues coming up.
And showers and thunderstorms are right now riding our ridges in the mountains. It has been a hot day. It feels like summer out there, doesn't it? Upper 80s to near 90. We're going to take a look at your weekend and storms that could become severe tonight. It's next.
Your WXII 12 forecast is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected with meteorologist Michelle Kennedy on her Facebook page.
The state senate is about to take up a bill that would allow driver's ed students to get their licenses without ever passing a road test. This has already cleared a hurdle in the House. Students would still have to do 15 hours of classroom instruction and do at least 6 hours of behind-the-wheel training as well. The waiver would expire once the DMV starts road tests again, or 180 days from when the act begins.
Protecting your privacy during the pandemic. Senators on Capitol Hill say they're concerned about contact tracing apps that could expose your personal information. There's bipartisan support for legislation that prevents the misuse of details like your health condition, where you've been, or who your friends and family are. They want to make sure that your information collected for public health purposes stays protected and is not shared for commercial use without your consent.
These kinds of basic protections, I think consumers actually expect, but they need explicit protection.
I just think clarity and transparency and an informed consumer is at the heart of getting this right.
Lawmakers say they want to get regulations in place before contact tracing technologies become more widely available.
Weather, we are still technically in the late stages of spring, aren't we, Michelle? Doesn't feel like it outside, though.
It certainly doesn't feel like it. He asked me yesterday if my air conditioning was working, but you know, luckily it is today. I know a lot of folks may have some trouble with that. We were talking about high humidity too. Take a look at how warm it is all across the country, all the way from Minneapolis at 83 right now. We are at 86. We've got some clouds rolling in, but we also have the humidity. So there's this added layer of high humidity that we have to contend with right now for highs today that have been making us feel like the 90s. We do have rain chances. This is going to help to bring temperatures down a little bit eventually once we see the front pass through. 50% chance of showers and storms tomorrow makes it our best opportunity for rain over the next 4 or 5 days. We are dry heading into the weekend. Here's where the showers are right now. They're kind of just edging up over the mountains. We've got a southeasterly breeze anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour, in some cases 15. And those storms are more active there. There is a risk that 1 or 2 of these storms may become severe. We're looking at damaging wind threats and certainly heavy rains. Now, a couple of showers have been trying to get going over uptown Lexington. You've probably seen the clouds. Right, those big clouds seem to be growing with height, and now we're looking at some of those trying to produce a sprinkle or two, but you can see here it's just washed out overhead. So not a whole lot happening east, and you're on that border for marginally severe thunderstorm possibilities tonight. We'll be watching closer to the mountains and western foothills over the next few hours. If 1 or 2 of those storms do become severe, of course, we'll keep you updated on that. But right now, temperatures at 86 degrees in Greensboro, 87 Winston-Salem. We are steamy. It's just very uncomfortable. We've got dew points in those low to mid 60s and 95 for feels like temperatures right now in Burlington. That has been the hot spot throughout the day. You've already hit highs in the low 90s there, not only today, but yesterday too. And of course, summer doesn't officially start for just a little while longer, but we're winds out of the south and southeast lifting some of that moisture. And you can see tropical depression Cristobal, as it moved its way inland, still forecast to kind of nudge out into the Bay of Campeche. And as it does so over the next 48 hours, it's gradually going to push toward our coast and heading toward Louisiana. We believe that the track still takes us inland, kind of eastern Texas, western Louisiana, and then straight up through the Midwest. Some of that is going to be developing because of the steering currents aloft. Our ridge of high pressure, the same one that's helping to heat us up right now, is going to be overhead here. Meantime, it kind of allows this system to roll up in that direction right up through areas of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Mississippi, keeping most of that tropical moisture away from us. We've got a lot of beach moisture in place today. Your highs today at 92 degrees in Burlington, and that beach moisture is coming in from our beaches, from the Atlantic right now with that southeast flow. Overnight temperatures are down into the mid and upper 60s. We've got rain chances that build back gradually through the noon hour. You might see a couple sneaky showers. Watch this as we look at our hour-by-hour forecast. Through the day on Friday, certainly afternoon thunderstorms threats are possible, but it's overnight tonight that in Asheboro, areas like Burlington, you might actually wake up to a shower or two kind of in that southeastern zone. So we'll be watching for 1 or 2 there. And then it's the afternoon heat of the day, those thunderstorms that really start to pop off. Doesn't expect it to be severe right now, but 1 or 2 could bring in some good heavy soaking showers for us through 5, 6 o'clock. And then things start to wind down. For Saturday, we talk about a few pop-up thunderstorms, but this is not a rainy forecast necessarily. It could be a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon as we hit highs in the upper 80s to near 90. It's going to be pretty steamy out there too until we see Sunday start to back off with those dew points and things improve. So general thunderstorms for you going into your day on Saturday. All right, looking at this right now, we're looking at that ridge of high pressure. This is what's got us hot and also helping to steer, we believe, Cristobal right up into the Midwest and away from us. So that's one good thing for you right now. We're gonna have much more on that, but right now, ridge of high pressure in place, bringing in those mid and upper 80s to near 90 the next few days. We're going to be a little bit more comfortable by Monday at 81. We'll bring back some clouds and some sunshine and a thunderstorm chance possibly by late next week on Wednesday. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, a bit of everything there. Thanks, Michelle. Checking traffic, this is I-40 near Sandy Ridge Road in Colfax. Things look just fine out here. No major issues like a delay or a crash for these drivers to deal with.
Next, a popular medication, an antidepressant, is difficult to find right now. Drug companies have a reason why as well.
Plus, removing a Confederate statue that's becoming a rallying point for recent protests. We're going to tell you where this Robert E. Lee monument is going to be going.
Here are WXII 12's senior shout-outs. Senior Shoutouts, presented by Daggett Schuler Attorneys at Law.
Hi, Dr. John here with what you need to know about coronavirus today. It's Thursday, June 4th. Here's the headline. Limited drugs available for rising depression and anxiety. An increase in depression and anxiety during the pandemic has led to a shortage in the antidepressant Zoloft as well as its generic sertraline. The FDA has now added these medicines to its list of drugs that are in short supply. A recent survey of Americans aged 18 and older finds psychological distress has spiked dramatically. Feelings of loneliness, uncertainty, depression, and anxiety tripling since 2018. That's led to a spike in new prescriptions. Pfizer, the drug company which makes Zoloft, says it can fill ongoing prescriptions, but not new ones. So if you encounter this problem and your pharmacy can't fill your prescription, don't stop there. There are other medicines that are effective to treat depression and anxiety. Talk to your doctor about alternatives that will be right for you. It's important you treat your mental health as you would any health issue, especially during these stressful times. Now, we're learning more about this virus every minute, so tune in to learn more tonight on NBC Nightly News.
And if you or someone you know is struggling and you need someone to speak with, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number is 800-273-TALK.
A 3D printing company is creating a way to open up doors without having to touch the handles. In Turkey and really all around the world, hand sanitizer, gloves, and face masks are necessary accessories when leaving home. A 3D printed tool allows users to open and close doors without touching the handle. You see how it works? The touchless tool also allows you to get into elevators and press buttons safely.
Nurses don't go into that profession to see people die.
Still ahead tonight, mourning the loss of his son. One father opens up about the toll COVID-19 took on his mental health.
Well, we can see a few raindrops on our weather camera out there in Winston-Salem overlooking the studio. You can see the showers and thunderstorms are firing west, but right now we're focusing on the heat across most of the Tri. You're at 87 degrees, feeling like 90 right now. We'll have a breakdown on your forecast and take a look at radar next.
From WXII 12 News, this is breaking news.
We're back with breaking news in Winston-Salem. A Black Lives Matter protest is just getting started.
This is the 6th day now that we've seen these in Winston-Salem, and the marches are about more than just the death of George Floyd.
Protesters are demanding action against racial injustice. Our Brandon Bates is going to be live at tonight's event coming up at 6 o'clock.
Well, about an hour ago, thousands of people in Minneapolis spilled into the streets as loved ones said goodbye to George Floyd. He died in police custody. 4 officers are now facing charges in his death. This happened 10 days ago. If only for a couple of hours, calm replaces what has been a constant uneasy tension in that city. And this is just the beginning of a long goodbye to Mr. Floyd. There's a public memorial for him this weekend in Rayford, North Carolina, followed by a public viewing and a funeral Monday and Tuesday in his hometown of Houston, Texas.
In Richmond, Virginia, an iconic statue of America's past is being removed. Governor Ralph Northam announced today the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee will be taken down from Richmond's Monument Avenue. It's going to be put into storage while Northam's administration and community leaders decide what to do with it.
Yes, that statue has been there for a long time, but it was wrong then, and it is wrong now. So we're taking it down.
The Lee statue is one of 5 Confederate monuments along Monument Avenue that have become rallying points during recent protests.
Breaking news, the NBA's minor leagues, known as the G League, says the rest of its 2019-2020 season will not be played. The Greensboro Swarm are part of the G League. The season was suspended back on March 12th, right around the time that the rest of the sports world was put on pause. The G League season will not be made up, unlike the NBA. The G League says it will announce end-of-season awards, including MVP and Rookie of the Year, soon. Well, tonight we're getting a better idea of just how devastating the coronavirus has been in our nursing homes, especially here in North Carolina and all across the country. Our National Investigative Unit has obtained new information that sheds light on exactly how many people have died and which states have been hit the hardest. Here's Chief National Investigative Correspondent Mark Albert.
In my soul, in my heart, I believe this was not her time to go.
Eva Betancourt's mother, Arnalda, died of COVID-19 after being in a Boston area nursing home. Now we have a better idea how many other families are also grieving. Long-awaited data released Thursday by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services show Arnalda Betancourt was one of at least 95,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases in America's nursing homes, and nearly 32,000 have died. But that's certainly an undercount, because while CMS for the first time required the nursing homes to report the data to the agency, 12%, 1 in 8, have failed to comply. Betancourt's home state, Massachusetts, is among the top states for most nursing home COVID deaths per 1,000 residents. The new data show, along with New Jersey, Connecticut, Michigan, Oklahoma, Maryland, and Pennsylvania.
Lots of mistakes by lots of people, and lots of fundamental mistakes.
Toby Edelman at the Center for Medicare Advocacy reviewed COVID-19 focused inspection reports obtained by the National Investigative Unit's COVID Clusters Seniors at Risk investigation last month.
Are you saying if these problems aren't fixed that people could die?
People could die. People are dying.
The head of CMS warns more positive cases are coming as it continues to urge more testing and inspections, as she told us in May.
We want to assess nursing homes across the country for infection control, and we've actually used all our resources to do that.
But we may never know the full extent of COVID-19 deaths in nursing homes nationwide during the pandemic, because CMS says it cannot require retroactive reporting. In Washington, I'm Chief National Investigative Correspondent Mark Albert.
CMS vows to fine nursing homes that don't report COVID cases at least $1,000 per week. North Carolina nursing homes have reported 3,412 cases of COVID-19. That is according to the state health department. We know of at least 503 in nursing homes who have died.
A man on the front lines of the coronavirus is dead. His family says that he relapsed and may have died from a drug overdose. Ron Coddington says his son, William, was proud that we call nurses our heroes. William did not hesitate to work in the COVID-19 ward at JFK Medical Center in West Palm Beach. But there were fears of exposure and the mental toll of treating patients.
One of the things he expressed was the haunting sound of the alarms on the respirators, and described it as trying to pump air in a brick.
Ron says William's fear and isolation led him back to opioids. He had become dependent on them after a major surgery. And after 5 years of sobriety, Ron says his son was found dead in his car. He hopes that anyone else who may be struggling will reach out and get help.
FedEx is adding new delivery fees to some shipments after a similar decision by UPS. The move is aimed at offsetting rising costs and manage a surge of package ordering during this pandemic. The fees could hit some of FedEx's largest shippers as more people choose to shop for everything from cleaning supplies to computers online. Those shippers will decide whether to absorb the cost themselves or pass them along to customers in the form of higher shipping prices. Well, sources say the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee is considering several safety measures, including requiring athletes to be put under mandatory 2-week quarantine after arriving in Japan. The committee is also thinking about restricting athletes from coming in and out of the Olympic Athletes Village. This move comes as leaders are considering ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19 at the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics, which was postponed to the summer of 2021. Requiring spectators to get tested for coronavirus and reducing the scale and size of both the opening and closing ceremonies. Nothing in stone yet. These are things that are being considered.
Happening now, a man is behind bars in Davie County, accused of the death of a mother of 5. Investigators tell us Miguel Leon was arrested this morning in Winston-Salem. He's accused of hitting and killing his girlfriend, Vianney Arias, with his vehicle. Police say she was reported missing around 2 yesterday morning by one of her children. Leon is charged with hit and run, and he's behind bars right now on a $150,000 bond.
Elsewhere in the Piedmont, a man is recovering after being shot several times. Burlington police say he walked into an urgent care before noon yesterday. He told officers the shooting happened on Attica Street inside of a home. Authorities believe he was the intended target. Burlington police right now are looking for any information that can be helpful. Reach out to them if you know anything.
Checking traffic, here's a live look. University Parkway and Polo Road in Winston-Salem. Streets are dry and traffic is light.
Well, next, as social distancing appears here to stay for now, a new way to make sure you're standing at least a few feet apart, where you can find people wearing these unusual hats.
And coming up, 2 big questions. How risky is it to get a haircut in the middle of the pandemic? What about taking a trip? We'll tell you details in part 2 of our summer survival guide.
And first, a look at how stocks finished the day on Wall Street.
WXII 12 News is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected to Kenny Beck on his Facebook page.
There's an art gallery in Paris that's giving visitors a unique hat to ensure they respect social distancing rules. Look at this. These colorful papier-mâché hats have long extensions or wigs to keep art lovers at least 3 feet apart. 3 feet's better than nothing, right? The idea came from headgear worn by some leaders in China's Song dynasty. The museum director says the hats have brought smiles to guests since the gallery reopened just a couple of weeks ago. Warehouse workers at an Amazon facility in New York City are suing the company. They say Amazon put them at risk for coronavirus. One worker at least is known to have died from COVID-19 at this warehouse, but Amazon has declined to say how many employees have actually gotten sick from it. The workers claim the company did not provide enough hand sanitizer and that social distancing was impossible on the job. Amazon disputes these allegations.
In Switzerland, 2 artists are turning the concept of traditional hotel rooms on its head. Check this out. It's a really neat story with an interesting video along with it. It's called the Zero Real Estate Project. Basically hotel rooms without the room. See that? The event features 7 sites where guests perform by bedding down amid the majestic landscape. A night in the double room, I guess in quotes, costs just under $300, including the services of a white-gloved modern butler.
Hi, I'm Jeff Rawson. Coming up on Rawson Reports, we have the ultimate summer survival guide. You want to get out and protect your family while being practical during this pandemic. So what is really the risk of getting a haircut, getting into a hotel room, renting a car, going on vacation? We have all the information you need. One-stop shopping next.
And we're talking about your shower and thunderstorm activity for the weekend. So if you do have plans to get out, we'll take a look at that. But right now, we've got storms firing in the mountains and a few trying to brew over the Triad. It's next.
Back with breaking news in Lexington. Police tell us a man is dead after a standoff this afternoon. We're told this is related to the search for an armed suspect earlier today. Officers tell us a child called them just after 1 because someone was breaking into their home on Northview Drive. 3 kids left that house. Police say the suspect started shooting at them when officers arrived. 1 bullet hit a patrol car, another one grazed the officer. Neighbors were evacuated while police secured that area. Authorities say an officer went into the house and eventually found the suspect had shot and killed himself. The children were all found safe and none of the officers involved were seriously hurt.
Well, difficult transition now to Rawson Responds, but these are certainly questions that a lot of you have. Part 2 of our summer survival guide. We've all got our summer plans, at least some of us, on hold, hoping that things will reopen, hoping that things will be safe. Which activities are the best, the easiest, and the safest to do, and which ones, according to doctors, are a little too risky for now? Our Chief National Consumer Correspondent, Jeff Rawson, has the answers.
Hi, yeah, aren't you loving the weather right now? It's getting nice. We're all getting out, which is great. You want to keep your family safe, but you also want to be practical at the same time. I get it. So we're here to help. We're ranking the risks of 5 popular summer activities right now. It's the Rawson Report's Summer Survival Guide. This week, working with medical experts, we rank the risk of going to the beach. Low risk, a public pool. Medium risk because of all the common surfaces and toys. Backyard barbecue, medium risk. The get-together is fine, just keep distance and don't share utensils. Going out to eat, medium risk if you sit inside the restaurant. Sitting outside, low risk. How about using a public restroom? Medium risk. The biggest hazard, those hand dryers blowing the virus everywhere. And going on vacation with another family, low risk, assuming everyone has been staying safe and isn't in a high-risk category. Now, let's rank the next 5 summer activities. What about playing outdoor sports with people who aren't in your family? Basketball, for example, right? You're up in each other's face, sweating, and you're all touching the same ball. What about baseball? Same type of thing, right? They're throwing the ball at you. You're all touching this. And by the way, it's the same thing for tennis, right? You're all playing with the same tennis balls. You're all touching it. What's the risk?
Now, outdoor sports, this is generally low risk. Let's take tennis and baseball. The balls are moving at rapid speeds. Both people may be touching the balls, but they're generally having minimal contact, so it's not an issue. Now, let's talk about basketball. That's medium risk. First of all, the players are in each other's faces, they're breathing rapidly, they're sweating a lot, and that can increase viral transmission.
So many of you asking about air travel too, from the airport to the plane itself, operating at lower capacity, but still possible to sit right next to someone.
Now, air travel, we're talking high risk here. This is one of the highest risk points where you could contract the virus. And this is because of people from many different backgrounds, many countries, with many touch surfaces, along with the potential for talking and just breathing for long periods of time in the same compartment. So I think this is one of the highest risk areas, even if people are wearing masks.
When you land, you need a rental car, right? The question is, are there coronavirus droplets in here from the last customer? Now, the rental car agencies say they've been disinfecting the cars between each customer, but in here, you have no way to guarantee that. I mean, you can't tell by looking at the steering wheel or the armrest or anything what bacteria is on here. So the question is, what's the risk in a rental car?
Rental car, now this case is relatively low risk. Assuming the car company has wiped down the car thoroughly, I think in this point you're okay, but you may want to just do an additional wipe down.
And what about staying in a hotel room? We already know from all the stories I've done on germs that the light switches, the remotes, the bedspreads, the pillowcases can be full of germs and bacteria. Now, the hotels say that they're doing deeper cleanings now between stays, but what's really the risk?
Now, staying in a hotel, that's low risk, but that's once you get into your room. Remember to wipe down surfaces there. But when you venture out into the rest of the hotel, that's where you have to be careful. Lobby, and definitely stay out of the gym. That's high risk.
And of course, you can't forget about haircuts. The stylist and the client wearing a mask, but they're in close quarters. So how safe is it to visit your salon or barbershop?
Now, getting a haircut, this is high risk. The main issue is the prolonged contact between yourself and the stylist. The risk also of the stylist being infected but asymptomatic and being able to spread the virus to you. And this happens even if both of you are wearing a mask.
If you missed any of that, we have a full breakdown on our website right now, RawsonReports.com. You can share it with friends. Keep them safe too. Back to you.
Let's check in on our forecast now. It's been a really warm day, very humid out there, Michelle. It feels like you can really just sense the moisture in the air.
Yeah, very tropical-like, right? You know, we've got Tropical Storm Cristobal, too, that became a depression earlier today. So it dropped down in category, but it's going to become a tropical storm again and move into the Gulf. Like, we need any more tropical-feeling air. But it is going to push in and approach folks in Louisiana, eastern Texas as we go into the weekend. It looks like Sunday night, overnight into Monday. This is the best time frame to see the system make landfall somewhere in the United States. Right now, a lot of those tracks are becoming in better alignment. These are forecast model tracks trying to figure out where Cristobal could go. And it does look like East Texas, western Louisiana is the favored spot, thanks to some of the steering currents aloft to the same ridge that is bringing us the heat right now. We're at 86 degrees, feeling like 90 out there in Greensboro, and we feel even warmer in Winston-Salem. Well, still feeling like 90, but 87 for an actual high. We've got those mix of sun and clouds. You've started to see the clouds building in the distance. Some of the thunderstorms you can actually see from Winston-Salem that are building up along the ridges. It's a southeast wind. This is helping to produce some of those thunderstorms that are firing off for you right now. You can see a lot of thunderstorm and lightning activity, but hugging the ridges. So that southeast wind just pumping up some of the moisture and lifting those storm clouds up. We had a couple of showers trying to just get going overhead. I think you might have seen a sprinkle in Winston-Salem within the last 2 hours. Other than that, nothing yet, and we're grateful for that. One or two of these storms may produce some damaging wind threats. There's a greater risk if you're driving north into central Virginia, so along Interstate 81, or if you're heading up on 29 or on 95. Please use caution and make sure you have your weather alerts on WXI 12 with you as well. All right, look at this. 87 degrees currently, 79 though in Galax. You've got some clouds spilling in and shower chances that may cool you there, but rain and heat, oh, it's just a muggy summer day. 90 degrees for feels like temperatures across the board in the Triad, and the hot spot still so far has been Burlington. Winds out of the south anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour. Quick look at the dew point. You know, we talk about this as we get you into the summer because the humidity combined with those hot temperatures does tend to make us feel a little yucky at times. And so we've got that forecast for you with the upper 60s in the uncomfortable zone. And that's, I think, pretty much where we are right now. If you get over 70 for your dew points, this is getting to feel pretty miserable. We've got an uncomfortable feel to the air over the next few days. By Sunday, it's muggy, but it is not as oppressive as it is right now. So that's the good news. 89 degrees for high temperature, 70 for lows, and this is above normal. We were forecasting those hot, steamy conditions. Your hour-by-hour forecast does show that the showers and storms start to fizzle once we get you into about midnight. Most of those are going to lift to our north. Now, want to watch over in the southeastern Triad. We may see a sneaky storm in here for Asheboro, Burlington, along with Apache fog. That will be evident everywhere early tomorrow morning. A couple spots might have some denser fog and where you've seen the rain from today. All right, shower and thunderstorm chances are going to be back late tomorrow afternoon. I think after 2 o'clock, things could really start to pop. You've got the heat, and we should already be in the mid and upper 80s at this point. Some folks will hold at about 85. We'll get you at 85 for a high tomorrow in the Triad, and we'll see those 70s for folks in the mountains to low 80s in the Triad, or in the foothills rather, too. So look at the showers sweeping through, and then things start to improve by Saturday morning. And then a few more storms are possible as the front comes in, but it's going to be a hot one. Upper 80s to near 90, and I may have to bump up that high. I think storm coverage should be a lot lower. And on the back edge of this on Sunday, we are drier, and it feels a bit more comfortable, although still above normal. So 68 degrees tomorrow morning. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, we'll take you to 85. Impact hours continue through the afternoon and evening, and you're at 66 too in the foothills, and also similar temperatures with low 60s, warming only to about 79, and that should happen earlier part of our day. As those thunderstorms kind of build in, you're going to have more clouds and slightly cooler conditions. Also, pollen counts, they're up in the moderate zone. For weeds, they're lower, but trees and grasses, that's the culprit for the weekend. Take a look at the 7-day forecast. Sunshine, 80s, and we've got storm chances returning again next Wednesday at 30%.
Thanks, Michelle. Coming up, with this pandemic, some people are looking for extra help job searching. What services some people are turning to.
Back now with a final check on traffic in this 5 o'clock hour. Here's a live look. I-40 West, Elm Eugene Street in Greensboro. Westbound, no trouble. Eastbound, no trouble either. Uber is sending thousands of e-bikes and e-scooters to a scrapyard here in North Carolina. The decision to destroy them has angered cycling advocates who said Uber should have done more to find a useful purpose for the electronic bikes and scooters. Uber countered by saying it had no choice because another company, Lime, now owns the intellectual property rights behind these designs.
With unemployment at its worst level in decades, competition is as fierce as ever for people hoping to find a new job. Some are turning to paid online services to maximize their odds or trying to get some emotional support. Chris Pallone takes a look.
Competition is fierce for many Americans looking for jobs, and sometimes the smallest detail can be the key to rejoining the workforce.
One of my interns said, "Hey, what are you going to do about resumes?" And I was like, "There's a resume issue?"
Jennifer Sethry of Entry Careers discovered 75% of resumes submitted for a job will never be seen by someone who works there.
There are 127 metrics for reasons why your resume doesn't get through applicant tracking system software.
Things like length, font size, and a lack of certain keywords can cause good candidates to be rejected. That's why some job seekers are turning to paid services like Entry, learning to craft carefully targeted resumes.
I think with creating a brand statement for yourself so you know exactly who you are.
vCandidates founder LT Bryson says job seekers must be memorable. Her company creates profiles for clients, reviews resumes, and even coaches them through mock interviews.
Remember, a few months ago, we had more jobs than we had talent. Well, now with all of the layoffs and furloughs, we're going to have less jobs and more talented people in the marketplace.
And when job seekers feel like no one understands what they're going through, Wisdo.com introduces them to people who have been in their shoes.
People who are, in social networks, they have their own personal networks, and still they can't find people to talk about what matters most in their lives.
You have to be your own advocate.
Bottom line, these employment experts say putting the best possible shine on job skills and qualifications is more important than ever before. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
From WXII 12 News, this is breaking news.
Another protest in the streets of Winston-Salem. You are looking live right now at West End Boulevard in the city.
And out there, organizers ask everyone to wear black. They say that they want leaders in the community to hear their calls to mend the racial divide across the country.
This protest comes on the same day that family and friends got together in Minneapolis, Minnesota to remember George Floyd, the man killed in police custody last week.
Turning now to more breaking news, a judge says that there is now enough evidence to try 3 suspects on murder charges in the death of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. A state investigator says that Travis McMichael used a racial slur after fatally shooting Arbery in February while he was out jogging. The investigator says that Arbery was repeatedly boxed in by 2 pickup trucks as he tried to escape the men. Defense attorneys say that McMichael and his son chased Arbery because they thought he was a suspect in area break-ins. William Bryan is also charged in this case.
And these are just some of the cases that protesters all across the country say prove injustice still very much exists. Tonight, a group is gathering, as we mentioned, in Winston-Salem's West End. They've chosen that spot for a very specific reason. Let's go to Brandon Bates. He is live there tonight with a look ahead. Brandon.
Yeah, well, Kenny, good evening to you. You can see this protest just kicking off. Well over 100 people. The goal is to get the message across and to be as peaceful as they possibly can. Today's protest scheduled from 5:30 to 7:30, starting right here on West End Boulevard at the William G. White Jr. Family YMCA. I talked to the young woman organizing this whole entire thing. She said she is nervous. She's never done this before, but she is so excited to spread her message. She said they picked the historic West End neighborhood because this is where some of the local judges and city officials live. The group hoping their message is heard that the country's racial divide needs to be mended. Today's Black Lives Matter protest is being put on by the group Winston for Peace. We've heard these protests are far from over as the weekend just around the corner. Anticipating some very large crowds at the protests coming on Saturday. Again, a big priority to the protest organizers. They're hoping to keep this as peaceful as they possibly can, keep Winston-Salem's peaceful protest streak at 6, and they're on. We're going to keep this going on Facebook Live. We're also going to keep you updated on air and on our social media accounts as well. But for now, reporting live in Winston-Salem, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
Brandon, thank you. Look for continuing coverage of this protest in Winston-Salem on Brandon's Facebook page. He's been posting videos and photos. New tonight, the North Carolina House Speaker announced a new task force in response to the death of George Floyd, as well as protests across the state. Speaker Tim Moore says it is a bipartisan task force on justice, law enforcement, and community relations. In a statement, the Speaker says recent events have created a unique opportunity to address long-standing issues facing our society. In these difficult times, our job is to bring diverse perspectives together to listen and develop consensus solutions to move our state forward. Also new tonight, 6 crisis-trained chaplains from the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team are making their way to Greensboro. The chaplains will be in LeBauer Park to offer emotional and spiritual support to people who are protesting after the death of George Floyd and other cases in this country.
It has no doubt been an emotional and powerful day in the city of Minneapolis. Today, the first of 3 memorial services to honor and remember George Floyd. His family, friends, and those inspired by his life, including celebrities and government officials, gathered there today. Nearby, people stood at a growing memorial in the very spot where George Floyd died last week. 4 Minneapolis police officers are charged in his death. All 4 are no longer with the department. One of the officers, Derek Chauvin, is now charged with second-degree murder. A video shows him holding his knee on Floyd's neck while he was detained and handcuffed, and Floyd said, "I cannot breathe." People, many of them at today's services, spoke of the hope of a lasting change and justice.
Time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
Everybody wants justice. We want justice for George. He's going to get it.
There will be 2 more memorial services for George Floyd. On Saturday, there will be a public viewing and a memorial in Rayford, North Carolina. That's just west of Fayetteville. George Floyd's sister lives in Rayford and says that her brother was born in Fayetteville. The final memorial will be in Houston, Floyd's hometown, on Monday. Lester Holt will anchor a special edition of NBC Nightly News from Minneapolis. He'll then talk to people in the community about what's next. Nightly News begins at 6:30.
As for the weather on this early June day, dry skies for the most part of the city of Winston-Salem, but meteorologist Michelle Kennedy is keeping a close eye on some storms to the north. Michelle, any of those going to be making their way into our viewing area anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, we've got a couple that have been trying to brew. We do have some of those showers and thunderstorms that are lining up along the mountains. Most of these are going to move in from the south and move to the north. We have seen some of those showers out there right now. You can see lined up from Johnson City and traveling just west of Galax. So Galax might get a couple of sprinkles right now, but the real strong thunderstorms, those are holding along the Blue Ridge Parkway and west. You're seeing showers over Belouse Creek area and Stokesdale. This is just developing right overhead. We've got that flow coming in off of our beaches out of the south and southeast, and so that is pumping in some good juicy tropical beach moisture for us, and that's what it's going to take along with these upper 80s and low 90s to see things get going. Tomorrow we have a little bit more influence from above, and that could create some scattered showers and thunderstorms for us, but also put us in a mix where we're not going to have to deal with severe threats. Now tonight there is a threat. We've got 85 degrees with feels-like temperatures at 88 in Greensboro right now, 91 in Raleigh. So we've started to see a few more clouds come in, and that should help to moderate those awful feels-like temperatures. But by later this evening, you may have a chance to see, as those clouds clear in spots, the International Space Station again. That's at 9:06. We're going to have much more for you. Take a look at what's happening for the weekend. It's next.
Tonight, family and friends are remembering a mother found dead in a ditch in Davie County. Her boyfriend is accused of hitting her with his car. Justin Schreier is live at the sheriff's office with more details about this very investigation. Justin.
And deputies found Miguel Leon in Winston-Salem this morning and arrested him with the help of police. The Davie County Sheriff's Office says this all started when they responded to a 911 call at around 2 a.m. Wednesday morning at an address in Coolamy. They say a young child called 911 saying that something had happened to their mom at a different location and that they felt like something was not right. The sheriff's office says they found 5 children at that home, ranging from 2 years old to 12 years old. where the 911 call came from, and that one of the children told deputies that their mother's boyfriend, Miguel Leon, and their mother had left their home, and when he came back, their mom was not with him before he left again. At around 8:30 Wednesday morning, deputies responded to another 911 call saying that a person was in a ditch near 6000 block of Highway 801 South. Deputies found the missing mother dead in that ditch. Now, those kids are with social services tonight. Leon is in the Davie County Detention Center tonight. Live in Davie County, Justin Schreier, WXII 12 News.
Justin, thank you. Next to the coronavirus impact, Governor Roy Cooper signed a new executive order today. It creates the Andrea Harris Social, Economic, Environmental, and Health Equity Task Force, the goal of which is to address disparities in minority communities, intensified, among other things, by the COVID-19 pandemic.
There's nothing inherent to black or brown people that makes them more susceptible to severe COVID-19 illness. The data should not be used to further racism or fear. The disparities because people of color have historically had less access to health care, housing, economic opportunity, and more. This virus is exploiting those inequalities, and it's up to us to do something about it.
The task force will focus on 5 areas: access to health care, patient engagement in healthcare settings, economic opportunities in business development and employment, environmental justice and inclusion, and education.
State lawmakers are making a push to get North Carolina gyms back open again. A Senate committee approved legislation today that would allow gyms to reopen at 50% capacity, but the measure would have to get through several more steps before it makes it to the governor. There is already legislation on his desk to let bars reopen outdoors. Reopening bars and gyms is completely or currently part of the governor's Phase 3 plan, but today he discussed the possibility of a Phase 2.5. He did not give any more details and said it would depend on more data. But Cooper also says that it could allow some closed businesses to reopen before Phase 3. Since March 3rd, nearly 32,000 people have tested positive for coronavirus in North Carolina. The state is reporting more than 1,000 new cases today alone.
The number of people dying from COVID-19 in Forsyth County more than doubled in just 1 week. The health department reported 5 new cases today, bringing the total to 23. This time a week ago, 9 people in the county had died. More than 1,600 who live in Forsyth County have tested positive for COVID-19 since this pandemic began in early March. 103 new cases were reported in just Forsyth County today.
While people are still getting sick from COVID-19, many are also recovering. Novant Health treated and released its 1,000th patient today. Leanne Denier spoke to medical experts about what we must all do to continue celebrating recoveries like this one.
A milestone and a reminder from Novant Health today as its team celebrated 1,000 patients treated and discharged for COVID-19. Outside Forsyth Medical Center in Winston-Salem Thursday afternoon, Novant team members celebrated the 1,000th patient with COVID-19 to be released from the hospital system. Robin Eaton spent 6 days in the hospital with the coronavirus. She says the Novant team, as well as her family and her faith, saved her life.
My faith with God, my Lord and Savior, He gave me a peacefulness. He gave me calmness. He said, Robin, you're my child. I got you. You're going home.
And the folks at Novant Health want to remind the community COVID-19 is still a real threat. They say continue practicing your social distancing, wearing a mask, and washing your hands. In Winston-Salem, Leanne Denier, WXII 12 News.
What a great story there. Well, across the state, more than 18,800 people have recovered from COVID-19. More than 3,000 of those people live in the Piedmont Triad. If you want to take a closer look at the cases reported in each local county, you can look for a map on our website, WXI12.com. You can also find it on the resources page.
A new tool to help people find jobs in the Piedmont Triad, how it could help connect you with an employer, and what kind of jobs are available right now.
Martinsville Speedway is gearing up to welcome NASCAR's Cup Series under the lights next week.
I'm Lauren Walsh. Coming up, we'll tell you how the Speedway is preparing for a safe, fanless race.
Today, as that more formal memorial for George Floyd is held here in Minneapolis, the makeshift memorial near where he died continues to grow and continues to attract people from the community and far beyond. Some people bringing their children, people of all colors, and collectively they're all asking, what now? What's next? We'll hear some of their voices, and we see you live from Minneapolis tonight on NBC Nightly News.